Welcome back. Welcome back to the Blind Pursuit podcast. As you know, I am your boy, Kim Sportin, and I got my dude Flavius in the building. What's up, man?
Man, I wish I knew. I'm doing okay, you know. I'm just glad you're driving the bus today. I've had a wild morning full of minor annoyances, but I'm good. I'm doing all right.
Yeah, man, it's the same way over here. All of a sudden, I'm feeling kind of overwhelmed for some reason.
You know,
no
like
idea why.
like I'm a guitar player, see, and I was sitting in there jamming, and I broke a fingernail. You know, you hear little high school girls worrying about breaking fingernails, and there I was. And all of a sudden, there was like this little thing attached, and I pull that off. It starts bleeding. And the cats come up and they're going, "Oh man, human blood. I hadn't seen that in a while. Where'd you get that?" So I was like running around trying to get everything cleaned up. And, but that's, you know, just these crazy things that can happen to you out of the blue. Kind of, as you get older, you like that kind of thing less and less. One little thing will knock you right off of your center. But I was just thinking, you know, I play like a lot of old, like folk rock music. And there's this one song, this lady, like way back when I was a kid, had this song called Anticipation. And everybody was going like, "Oh man, she really put her heart and soul into that. That's beautiful. That's a work of art." And then like fast forward to 30 years later, and I got the television on, and they're using that song to sell ketchup, you know? Like, there it was, her work of art. I mean, you're a musician, you got an EP coming out. Would you want people to do that with one of those songs? You know, because you put a lot into it.
Speaking of EPs, man, I don't even know. Like, there's a certain way that I want to approach it, but my hypochondriac of an engineer, he's just incommunicado. So basically, this is how I wanted to build my EP. Like, it's called Entries, and I came up with the idea of like, hey, you know, let's do interludes in between songs, but let's connect the interlude to the song. And for the interludes, what I'm doing is I'm just typing, you know, hence the term entries, right? Like, I'm just typing out my thoughts, and we're going to do these sound effects and da 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 da, and then go into the song, and then that song's done, and then another entry of me talking, and then go into another song, rinse and repeat. But due to life changes and circumstances, I get it. I totally get it. But maybe I'm just built different, meaning I could have 1,000 things going on in my life, but if I said I'm going to do something, no matter how tired I am, no matter who's all up in my business, I'm going to get it done because I
know. And plus, this is like your story you're trying to tell. So it's going to be super important to you. You know, speaking of those interludes and styles like that, did you ever hear that thing that guy Andre 3000? Okay, I don't know if you go back this far, but remember that group Outkast that he was in? And he did a thing. I mean, he was doing some wild music. It was as far away from rap as it could be. But he did a little bit of what you're talking about, like binding it together with like, it wasn't like spoken word, but it was pretty cool stuff anyway.
Outkast, man, that's some OG old school stuff, man.
I know it is. Well, you know, if I know about it, it's going to be in the past.
Yeah, man, that's what we used to bump back in the day when my brother and I would go cruising and stuff. But yeah, man, as far as life though, man, right now, let's see here. I'm going to be attending my daughter's baby shower here in a few weeks.
Oh man. So, when is she due?
I stated in a prior podcast, you know, she's having a boy, and the due date, I believe, if I remember right, is June 11. I wonder if I should just
Yeah.
get her a Target gift card since she works at Target. I'm like, here's your $200, and then you can get your additional 10%. Go buy him a bunch of stuff.
Well, see,
You know what I mean?
you say that. I would actually do something like that because they know what they need like better than we know. And
You know?
I do, because we don't know,
If you don't know, you don't
You
know.
don't know,
You know?
Exactly. Yeah. But that actually sounds like kind of a reasonable thing to me. And she could just take that thing and target aisle after aisle, mile after mile,
I'm pretty excited to see her because last time I saw her was Christmas. But the one thing I'm not looking forward to, and I pride myself on just going for the reason that I'm going for, but sometimes you just can't stand certain people when they say certain things. I'm not talking about my ex-wife. I'm talking like just people in general. But in this case, the family's going to be there, and they've just been like their form of a joke is insulting you.
Yeah. And that can be real. That can be stressful. I know.
And I'm going to be 3 hours away from home, man. It's not like back in the old days, if I didn't like them or I didn't like what they were saying, because I used to live across the street, I would just walk out the door and go home.
Yeah. But something like this, you almost feel like trapped. I've been in a situation like that where you have to be nice. I got something similar coming up on Easter. I'm hitting it up with my daughter at her house, but see, my ex-wife will be there, and she can get all up in my face sometimes too. So I know how you feel.
I know you said you had 2 ex-wives, so which one's going to be there? The OG one or the second one?
This is this is number one. This is everybody's mother. This is my daughter's mom. So she'll be there.
Oh, you confused me. You're like, everyone's mama. I'm like,
yeah.
My mama too?
She might. You never know. You never know if you're going to show up on Easter, But yeah, it'll be kind of cool. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was asking, do you guys get along?
Well, we talk, but sometimes that's the problem. See, she'll get over there talking to me, and I want to visit with the kids, and especially the grandkids, because they'll all be there.
Oh, okay. So you got the reverse, bro. So like,
but it's still a trap.
But she still wants to chop it up with you, though, right? See, my ex be like, ugh.
Yeah, and that would be bad too. Now that would be rough too. But see, she'll be up there doing the meaning of life times 5, and I'll be trying to say hello to the kids, and they'll be walking along and go, oh man, that's the old folks talking. They'll go in the other room and be like having fun, and and then Jerry came back and he was yada 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 yada. But I always manage to get through that stuff. People tell me I'm nice about it, even when I'm not feeling nice about it. So I don't know.
I mean, I was about to say the same thing along them lines. Like, my biggest issue is, in one episode we talked, I don't even know which one it was because we've done so many now. And together. But we talked about, communication and how it is with being blind. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I've been told, and I'm feeling different inside, right? Like, I feel pumped up.
Yeah.
Oh man, you look mad, bro. You look. I'm like, nah, So
yeah,
thing, man. So like, if when I go over there, I'm not pissed off, y'all. I mean, you guys are these folks that are gonna be there. I'm like, y'all 40 and older, just stop.
Yeah.
If I was mad, I would be mad. You look bored. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I know, and you go, hell, I am kind of bored.
Exactly. So, Idaho is like 3 hours away. So we are planning on leaving at 10 a.m. We'll probably get there at noon.
Yeah.
I say 3 hours. So when I say noon, the driver's going to be speeding.
Yeah.
And then we're going to leave at 4 and try to get back at 7. So I don't know, man. I'll be glad to see my daughter and her new apartment. You know, she feels all
Yeah.
independent, and which is cool. I remember when I first got my apartment, my first.
Yeah. Exactly. I know. And it is a big deal. And you're right to be doing that. But I understand exactly how you feel. That can be stressful.
I just don't like. I mean, as the old saying goes, man. We can only control what we think and how we feel. We can't control others.
Yeah.
And the one thing I do realize every time I'm around my ex's family, it makes me appreciate my hearing impairment more and more.
You say there's a silver lining to every situation.
Exactly.
That's good, man. You got to hang on to that.
Yeah, it only took what 10, 15 years or so. Oh, here's a good reason why I should
Yeah. Yeah. The Lord works in mysterious ways, Daddy O.
And speaking of hearing impairment, man, I told you in another show that I was spring cleaning
Yeah.
and some headphones and, two or three pairs. And the one thing that annoys me, and I gotta try to research this unless you got some recommendations, but
Yeah.
I have a hearing aid and I got these studio monitor headphones on that I'm wearing.
Yeah.
Not rocking the Sony ones that somebody gave me. But the point is, I put these fat ass headphones on, and then the right side, because my hearing aid goes in the ear, right?
Yeah.
And the headset is just like pushing down on the hearing aid, and all I hear is like weird ambient, no, just weird noise, dude, because it's pushing down on my hearing aid, and it just annoys me.
Yeah. I wonder if some lighter ones like those Bose Quiet Comfort, because they sit over your ears, but they're real light.
Because
I,
what I've been trying to accomplish is, I'm very picky about quality. I'm all about quality over quantity, right?
yeah.
So I don't have the money to provide treatment for the space I'm recording in.
Yeah.
So I was asking Chat GPT.
Who
And,
knows everything?
yeah. Uh, and they brought us some headphones. I'm no, like we said before, I mean, I can't speak for Flav, but I'm not a nerd in that area as far as, hey, this would be a good headset to get. So I asked Chat GPT, like, what kind of headset should I get that will eliminate, if not completely, but a little bit of the, the roomy noise that I have
Yeah.
in my room, my space, so to speak. So,
Yeah.
but those headphones, though, like I said, I gotta find one that will not press down on the ear because it just drives me bonkers.
Yeah. Well, those Bose, that Quiet Comfort series are they're good. They got noise cancellation, and I have never mastered that completely. Like sometimes you put it on and it's great, and sometimes it's like it filters out too much. So I
It
that
depends what you want to use it for. So it sounds like you owned a pair before, right?
no, yeah, I do have a pair. I use them to listen to music sometimes or to read when I'm somewhere where there's other stuff going on. But they're light. They they do cover your ear, but I know what you mean kind of about that pushing, because even for those of us who don't have a hearing aid, after a while you just feel that pressure on your ear.
Yeah, yeah. I remember back in the day, before my hearing loss, I'm like, oh my gosh, my ear is numb.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, those Bose, I can keep them on a long time before they start bugging me.
So I like to use my microphone, my Audio Technica, so it doesn't come with a microphone, does it?
It does not. I'm pretty
Yeah.
certain there's not a mic built into it. If there is, I have never had occasion to figure out how to use it.
No, I mean the boom mic, it sticks out
No,
like.
there's not one.
Okay,
No.
good. I'm still trying to figure out my Blue Tiger. She's just sitting there in the drawer. I just don't know how to charge the thing. I got it paired to my phone.
I know that's wild, but it did pair to your phone.
Yeah, because I figured out how to pair it, but it was like 10:30 at night. Oh, I'm too tired to try to do it to the computer.
Yeah, I know. Crash after a success. I understand that.
But yeah, so in other news, so yesterday when I was sitting here reading, man, apparently we got our own Planet of the Apes going on around here because apparently just down the road, not down the road, down by the river, people are reporting sightings of lots and lots of possums.
Oh my God. You're taking over? Those guys are. Have you ever touched one?
No, heck no. If I did, it probably be accident. I'd probably get bit, right? If I touch
You know
one.
what? They have more teeth than any other mammal in North America. I read somewhere they've got like 57 teeth. And one time it was like super cold, and I was out in the utility room getting like a dish towel or something, and that thing had come in the pet door, and I reached up and touched it. That is the nastiest feeling. And it like hissed or made some weird noise and ran out the door. And the dogs woke up and started barking. It scared the hell out of me. I, I didn't know what it was. And then my wife at the time looked up there and saw it. He goes, "It's a damn possum."
Yeah, I remember talking to this cat. He's in your neck of the woods. Mr. Brian out in San Antonio was telling me a possum ran underneath his house.
Yeah. They're supposed to be like not very smart, but somehow they manage, to like not only get by but reproduce. So they must be smarter than what people give them credit.
But they're not. I mean, from what this person was saying, and I know you listeners are probably thinking, "Man, Tim Scoren, you big dummy, and no, but nothing to be afraid of." They don't approach you, right? They're not like, "Hey," they don't just walk up to you and start hissing, right? I mean,
no, they. There's the old Southern expression, playing possum. Their defense is to act dead. So it must work for them some way, because apparently when an opossum is scared or feels threatened, it just gets like real still and doesn't move. Like, don't bother me. I ain't even on the planet anymore. But yeah, but they're strange animals.
So if they played dead and I just walked around it, they ain't gonna do nothing to me, right?
No, they don't. I don't think they attack.
Yeah, because I'm blind, right? So I'll be going out.
Yeah.
Because there was a possum in our driveway one day. I think I told you that story.
Yeah.
My kid came home from work and it was just sitting in the driveway like, hello,
Yeah.
Thing to eat.
Yeah. Can I come in?
Exactly. It's raining really? Here.
No.
She sat in her car for like an hour and she texted her ex-boyfriend. I'm like,
yeah.
How'd you get rid of it? She's like, I just flashed my lights at it. I'm like,
yeah, I know. I don't blame her though. But the ones that you really got to watch out in the country are the raccoons, because those guys are smart and they use their 4 feet like hands, and they will, like if you got a pet door or something, they'll come in there and get all up in your stuff. I've heard people talk about raccoons figuring out how to like open a cabinet door and stuff. They're like,
oh no.
Yeah. I mean, those guys, they didn't just graduate animal high school. They graduated college. They are smart.
Yeah, man. Speaking of college, here in a few hours, I'm gonna meet with my Cambodian students. And
oh, that's right. Today's the day. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to hang on as long as I can. I just think in person would be better and more beneficial. I just get this feeling that it's not working the way I thought it would.
Yeah.
Because nobody's talking, but the teacher's like, oh, they just have a hard time understanding your language and, the English language. Because again, if I'm there to speak slash teach you English. I'm not going to be speaking a native tongue, which I
Yeah.
know a little bit, but not enough as them, obviously. But
Yeah.
I'm doing my best to get
Man,
them.
I hope it'll work out because I think that's a good thing. If, if you can keep it flowing and like you say, keep them engaged, that's like a positive thing to me.
Yeah, because like what I'm doing is like last time we met, it was father. Vocabulary words like that, and
Yeah.
I told them what father meant. Then they wrote it down, but there's no feedback after that. So the teacher stepped in like an hour later. I'm like, okay, he just took over, man. So I must be effing up or something. And
Yeah.
then I watched out for his what he was doing. He just started calling out people's names.
Yeah. And that's one thing, like, make it almost a mandate that they engage some way. And that'll keep people from just like drifting off or thinking, I'll just let somebody else do it. But
Yeah, I
that's,
was one of them cats, bro. I was one of them guys like that, man. All through high school, all through college, and then when the teacher started calling on me, I'm like, ugh.
yeah, I know. It's, that's a tough one. It all depends on how you're feeling like on a given day and stuff. Some days you're real up, and then another day you got a class, but your mind is drifting. But
But yeah, man, spring break's coming up though. So like when I'm on my spring break, I thought it was next week.
yeah,
I must be rushing time. I'm like, what's that? What did they call that a few weeks ago?
anticipating.
Daylight savings.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, that
I just,
switched over. Yeah, the 1st of March.
you're an hour ahead, right? When they,
Yeah.
so yeah, man, I was jumping like a week ahead. I was doing daylight savings times two. So I must be rushing for something, or I just must be getting old and not realizing. I just got to read the calendar. That's all I got to do.
But man, it's different all over. See, because they just finished up last week with spring break here in Texas. It's the problem is you're networking with people all over the world. See, so you never know what's going on, where it's going on.
Yeah, man. And speaking of networking with people all over the world, your thoughts so far about what's going down with these shows, man? We got one coming up here in a few moments with I could say young lady. I mean, she's not younger than me, but she's young.
Yeah, she's younger than me, but like everybody is, so that doesn't quite qualify. But yeah, she's got an interesting story to tell about what going through school as a blind person. So yeah, that's going to be a good show.
Yeah, and on the show, we try to show all different sides because, for one, we don't really control what comes out of their mouth. We just have them tell their story. So you're gonna hear
Yeah,
you're gonna hear variations of experiences, and for some of us, it's a uphill battle, and for others, it's like, it was just fine. I mean, unless I asked the wrong questions, you know what I mean? Because
I know, but it's like sometimes it does feel like some people experience things as like a smooth ride, and then others there were struggles, and then others like somewhere in between. I guess it just proves that there are as many ways to deal with blindness as there are blind people. There's no one like pat description of how it is or how it ought to be.
and that's the beauty of it because you'll hear different responses to the different challenges or lack of, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was cool though, just to talk with her and get that out there, and she enjoyed it and wants to come back. So
Yeah, that's good. And I was not able to do that, but I'm glad you were able to step in and do that one. But solo, you did a great job too, as people will soon hear.
I will say though, I had to do it twice because my batteries and my device I was using, I didn't realize, like 10 minutes into it, it just died, and I was like, hey.
Technology, yeah.
I'm like, you just want to come back next week? My co-host will be here, and you can just meet the whole crew. It's up to you. She's like, I'm like, now let's just do it. We're both here. You got Monday,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
usually on Mondays I like to watch wrestling. So since I'm sacrificing wrestling for this,
That's right. Go ahead and do it. Yeah, but you rallied, man. It's and people will hear it's good.
yeah. So without further ado, guys, we're gonna go into that interview, and we will be back with thoughts and things like that.
Cool.
Okay, folks, I'm here with another guest for the Blind Pursuit podcast. Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Claudia. I live in Indiana and I am totally blind, have been so since birth.
Okay. So, welcome to the show. You said you were blind from birth. So, did that have any challenges with the family, so to speak? Before you answer, I would think that, hey, it's kind of like, I hate to compare a human to a dog, right? But like, you know how you bring in a dog that's like 10 years old, 8 years old, whatever, you got to figure out how to retrain it, so to speak. So, since you were blind from birth, was it much of a learning curve for them, or how was it growing up for you with the family?
I don't think so. I mean, obviously, I was born blind. I have 3 siblings. I have 2 brothers and a sister. My oldest brother, he was here before me. And then the other 2 came after me. So it's like, well, all right. It just is what it is. I think it was probably more of an adjustment for my parents because it was very unexpected. They didn't know what caused, my blindness or anything like that. So I think it was probably a shock for them and definitely something that they needed to adjust to.
Blindness, so no light perception?
Nope.
Yeah, so me, I'm blind in the right eye. I joke with people because, like, I'm also hearing impaired in the right ear. I just feel like everything on my right side is just gone. You know what I mean? So, school wise, though, how would you describe your schooling, like K through 12? I mean, we'll get to the college and all that later, but how was that for you?
I went to public school. I had a good experience. I had a really amazing teacher that basically was with me from the start of elementary school through high school. She motivated me to do stuff I didn't think I could do, like extracurriculars, but a lot of academic clubs, spelling clubs, science and math clubs, and stuff like that. It was an amazing experience. The only downside was that I had to go to public school and it was 20 minutes away from where I lived. So I really didn't get to play with my friends after school. I could talk to them on the phone and stuff like that, but I didn't have any social interaction with people that I went to school with until we got older and in high school and, friends started to drive in that.
How was the service like for your schoolwork? I went to high school, but I was out of blind school from 1994 until I graduated because the home life was a mess. At the same time, my vision was slipping. So I honestly think she was just overwhelmed with all the drama at home and a blind son and all that stuff. And the education system for me in the public school system did not work. I can say that now, but back then when I was a teenager, I just thought my mom didn't want me no more. I worked for a school district. Now I know how it goes, but for me personally, it failed me. So that's why I ended up at the blind school. How did it work for you? Did you get your materials on time? Did you have a reader?
Yeah, they were really good about that. My teacher, she passed away a few years ago, and we kept in touch long after I graduated high school and college. My family gave me a surprise party when I got my master's degree and stuff, and she was there, and I'm like, oh my God. She would order books in Braille. If it wasn't in Braille, she would do it. I did have stuff on tape. I don't remember really there being any issues with getting stuff on time until I got to college. But everything was either on tape. I went to high school in the late 80s. Stuff was on tape. Or I remember my brother and sister recording things for me when I was younger, and maybe I didn't have something available to me from my books. I would still have the print books at home, and they would record for me. I remember that. I was like 8, 9. And they were reading stuff for me.
My sister used to do my homework for me. And back in 3rd grade, we had to do this, write down your spelling words and write a sentence for each of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know we had to get up the next day in class and read everything. And I'm like, oh no, I can't read my sister's writing.
Oh man.
It was so embarrassing. So I just made it up, and the teacher's like, that's not one of your spelling words. You can't read what, who did your work?
Busted.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, tapes though. I mean, people listening to this probably don't even know what tapes are. I mean, did you ever have your boom box or your stereo eat your tape up?
Yes, of course. And then you're like, oh man, now what?
That's what I was doing when I was going to college. I was using a tape recorder, taping my classes. I've always been behind because I live in a small area. I live here in Eastern Washington. I mean, back in 2001, when I first started college, it was small. It's gotten bigger in the past 25 years, but what we have now, they didn't have back then.
Oh, sure.
Some of the students that go there, they're like, yeah, we got a Braille embosser. I'm like, what? Didn't have one when I went there, man. We had to go across the bridge, jump the fence over to grandma's house just to get the Braille material transcribed and all this other stuff. So it would take like a week. The turnaround was always a week. So I was always a week behind. People would think that, hey, maybe you get extra time to study, but I'm like, no, I got to keep up with the current material. Education wise, it seems like things sounded pretty good for you, right? You didn't have to play catch up or anything like that.
Things went smoothly, I would say. Things weren't so smooth in college, I had readers. College would pay people to read for me. My sister was actually one of my readers because she ended up going to school where I went. So it was kind of cool. She graduated high school 2 grades behind me. So we were both ended up being psych majors. So we ended up in a lot of classes together. It kind of made sense. She was my reader. Not for everything. I had readers to read my tests to me. By that time, I was typing my papers. I had a computer for the first time and a printer, and that's how I turned in my work. I learned how to type when I was like 9 or 10 because you had to.
So college, I will assume the 90s. You went to college in the 90s?
Yeah.
Okay. What screen reader were you using? Because back then,
JAWS.
There was WindoWise.
Oh, it was horrible. JAWS has come so far since when we first started using it. It got the job done, and in grad school was the first time when I could actually do my own research. Before that, I had to depend on going to the library with readers in college. And you know what's in your mind in terms of how you want to do your research or what you want to research, but trying to make that click to somebody else to try to help you find stuff that's relevant is difficult. I got to finally experience what it's like to do your own research without assistance when I got into grad school.
I actually attempted grad school for I lasted 1 semester or 1 quarter or whatever. Like I've told people, I just took on too much too soon. You know what I mean? Like I just got married, just got a job, got a couple of kids. Oh, let's go to grad
Just
school.
add grad school in the mix. Yeah.
Let's take on the whole world. And then, between full-time working back then and, changing diapers in the middle of the night because, wife had to work in the morning. So I just thought to be respectful. Like, hey, she got to go to work. She's paying the bills. So I'm just going to school, right? So let me just do this and do that. And it just caught up to me. I just crashed.
It wasn't easy. It was not easy. I doubted myself a lot along the way.
But in a way, though, I'm kind of glad it didn't work out for me because I was going for either clinical counseling or school counseling. And I was in the program enough to know that I was glad I didn't make it because I need to get myself right first, you know what I mean? Before I offer services like that to somebody else, if that makes sense.
Yeah, ironically enough, that's what I did. I went into that. I have a master's in mental health counseling. I've been working in social work for 20-some years.
When you mentioned earlier about college being difficult or whatnot, what was the most challenging piece for you in college?
I wouldn't even say that it was challenging because of being blind, although now I remember turning in papers and not knowing that my printer had run out of ink, right? And there's nothing more embarrassing than going to your professor and say, here's my paper. And she's like, or he's like, it's blank. And I'm like, oh. And I'm like, I have it. So I remember going home and emailing it like right away or whatever, but I had stuff like that. But the classes themselves were just very challenging. I went to school at night. So during the day, I was doing internship work. In order to get your degree, you had to put in 1,000 hours of actual time in an agency to help with fulfilling that requirement. So I worked at a domestic violence shelter. My days would start like at 6 a.m. I would go to work, what I called work, it's my internship, leave there like at 4:30. I go straight to class. Classes were usually like 5 to 9, sometimes 5 to 9:30, depending. And it was exhausting. It was exhausting.
My goodness, you talk about a blind pursuit. So that's a mad respect from me though, because I was working what 8 to 3:30 at the time, and then Fridays I had to be at school 5:30. The next day it was 8 to 3. Sunday it was 8 to 3. I was so dead by the time Sunday night hit. Just had to keep doing that, but like I said, it all crashed on me. What was the class I took that I failed actually? Counseling and technique, I think it was called. You know, in grad school, you need an 80% or higher, right?
Yep.
So I got a 76. I don't know, that was close for me, but I'm like, in a way, when I kept in touch with a couple of the cats in that program, and if I would have passed that class, the rest of the way would have been easy based on what they were teaching.
I almost failed. I don't know about your program, but in my program, you can get 1C. This was at that time. And if you got a second C, it was like pretty much a no. You had to have like A's and B's throughout the whole program. And I remember one of my biggest classes that I struggled with, I think, was statistics.
Oh my goodness, I hate that class.
It was horrible. I struggled with that, and I struggled with counseling theory, of all things, which is obviously important. But I'm not sure that it was, the content. I think I had a lot going on at that time, and I got a C. And I remember them sitting me down and having this conversation and saying, basically, we don't know if you are a good fit for this program. I'm like, look, you've seen my work. I'm not sure how it happened, but they did give me another opportunity to take the class, and I got a higher grade, and then I was able to move forward. But was I was sweating bullets because I had put all my blood, sweat, and tears into this, and I was almost done. And I'm like, I can't stop now. I don't know what I'll do.
So are you private practice or?
So no, my life took a total turnaround. I worked in social work for a lot of years in different capacities, but I never got that was the goal, was to get my LMHC, licensed mental health counselor license. Never got it because after I finished grad school, I got pregnant. I was already working at a domestic violence shelter. My plan was to work there and work under my boss to get my licensure hours. I worked there after I had my son for a couple of years, but I decided that I'd had enough of that particular situation. And so I stopped working for a little while to be at home with my boy. Then I got into another social work situation, but I never got my license. And I'm still working in social work. I am currently a vocational rehabilitation counselor for the VA. It's rewarding. It's very challenging, very stressful, but it is what it is.
So what do they do? Are they the same like a woke rehab counselor for the blind?
No, it's a little bit different. We are more like career counselors. So we assist veterans with employment. The primary goal of our program is employment, but if that means that they need education in order to achieve that final goal, then that's where we assist them with providing tuition assistance, with going to school to learn a trade or to go to university and study some type of degree program.
Okay, so it is almost kind of like on the rehab level for the blind services, because you want to go to college. What do you want to do? Okay, so we're going to pay for your tuition. What do you need? You know what I mean? So it's like they kind of supply that for the individual so they can get where they need to go, right?
I guess I said no because I was a state rehab counselor too before that. I feel bad for the people that are doing that work now because they're so much more limited than we were when I was doing it. A lot of states have tightened their budgets due to federal constraints and everything.
Yeah.
So they're not able to do a lot of the stuff that I was able to do when I was there, like independent living services for the blind, which to me is very, very important. If I lost my vision tomorrow, there aren't a lot of places that I can go and get services because unless you're wanting to go to work, a lot of the states have cut out independent living services, which means things like learning how to cook by yourself, learning how to clean as somebody who's blind, learning how to do laundry, learning how to label kitchen gadgets and things around your house to help you be independent. All that stuff isn't available like it used to be. And I think it's sad.
So you don't have to travel for your job, do you?
No.
For about 6-7 years, I was working at the same school, but now, past couple of years, I've been going between 3 different schools. Thank goodness not in one day, though, because they know my limitation, right? You got to work within the schedule and the time allotted. on the IEP. So I'm like, so you want me to catch the bus, go meet with them for 10 minutes, and then get on the bus? It's not gonna work. They figured it out. They got me out of middle school on a Monday, Tuesday at a high school, Friday at a high school, and then the reason why I'm working less hours is if you had a disability, you can get your student loans forgiven. Have you heard about that program years ago?
Yeah. Yeah. Student loan forgiveness.
So I took advantage of that. They said I had to make under 16,000. That was the caveat. I'm like, oh no. So I asked my job, I'm like, hey, can I decrease my hours? 4 years later, I got my student loans forgiven. It was a huge amount. So I'm kind of glad I went through that. But
Right.
7, 8 years later, it's kind of like what my coworker told me. She's like, yeah, they're so quick to cut your hours, but when you want them back, no.
Right. Yeah.
So, and during all that time, I was grinding as a single parent, and it was tough. But how was parenting for you though? You did mention the boy. I mean, did you get any doubts, any things like that? How do you do it? You're blind.
Oh, yeah, all the time. I know that there were people in my life who even wondered why I would have a child because I'm blind. And that was hurtful to me because I thought, I'm no different than anybody else. Like, why should I not be allowed to have a child? If that's my choice, that's my choice. Who are you to say I shouldn't have one? But as far as raising him, his dad is also blind. So we had a lot of people always ask us, oh, is he your helper? No, he's not. He's here because we want him here, because he is our world, not because he needs to help me cross the street or buy the groceries or get to the bus stop, whatever.
My kids got that a lot, actually. A lot of pats on the back because we would be crossing the street and some random person, that's so kind of you to help your dad across the street. We're like, we're crossing the street together. What are you talking about? You know?
Right.
But to be fair, those that are listening, blind parenting, I might be biased, but it's really not that challenging. I mean, because back then I had hearing, right? So for those that forgot out there listening, I mentioned in the first episode, I have no hearing in my right ear, but when I was raising them, I still had good hearing up until I can't remember how old they were, but like 8, 9, 10-ish, whatever. But did you have any particular methods? And did you have any equipment or anything like that to help you?
No, no. I mean, it just, I remember, I remember my son being little and getting into things. We would hear him and we're like, hey, what are you doing over there? Well, how do you know? How do you know? You know?
Yeah, because your hearing is probably way better, to what they say, right? When you lose one sense, another one is stronger. Do you believe that?
I don't believe it necessarily, but I mean, everybody says it, you know what I mean? So I don't know, but I mean, it helped me get through a lot of things. There were obviously things we couldn't see. There was a period of time where my son was writing on our living room walls and we had no idea.
Oh,
Oh, it
I
was
know
horrible
exactly what you're
when
talking
we
about.
found out.
Yeah,
It
I
was
know it.
horrible.
I know all too well because my granddaughter, like back then when she was 2, I would be all proud of myself. I cleaned the house. It looks great, smells great, blah blah blah. And the homie comes over and man, yeah, your house is off the hook, bro. But you need to clean these walls, man. I'm like, what are you talking
You're like,
about?
what?
Like, yeah, what are you talking about? He's like, who drew all over the walls? I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm like, what do you mean?
How long has I been there?
I remember my brother coming into the house and he says, it looks like a gang has been through here and just tagged your house and graffitied it. I'm like, what are you talking about? I will never forget that.
So if your house is a mess, is it really attributed to because you're blind? Or maybe I just don't feel like cleaning today. Why does everything have to be blamed on blindness is where I'm getting at. I mean, if my house is cluttered right now, it's not because I'm blind. It's because I just don't feel like cleaning right now. What are your thoughts about that?
I struggle with that because I'm kind of a neat freak. And I think it's because I do worry about what people think when they come into my house. And I would rather it be presentable than not be. Plus, I have a guide dog. So I'm constantly vacuuming because depending on the time of year, he's shedding. I like a clean house. And so I really strive to make that happen. I clean several times a week, even though I'm tired as hell. It's hard for me because I want to be accepted in that arena. Like, I want somebody to come over and say, your house is, and it does happen. Your house is, I don't know what you're talking about. You say you're always cleaning. Why are you always cleaning? Your house is spick and span, basically.
I had my own apartment before marriage, before kids and all that, right? They would always tell me my apartment was like very clean for a blind person. I'm like,
right, as compared to what?
exactly.
Right.
I was taking that as a compliment until the last part. I'm like, oh, but
As a blind person, yeah, for a blind person.
so did your son have any questions as he was growing up about mommy and daddy being blind?
No, I mean, I think it's because, he grew into it. It was just there. I mean, nothing changed. He was born into it. So I'm sure he got questioned, yes, by his friends or whatever. How do your parents do this and things like that? But did he ever really, have questions? No. He saw two capable parents, not that we didn't make mistakes and not that we didn't burn dinner sometimes or,
Even
you
sad that
know,
people do that though.
right, right. But I mean, uh, he had as much of a normal childhood as we could give him. No, could we drive? No. Did we have to take a bus to go somewhere? Yes. Did we have to make arrangements if we needed to get him somewhere that wasn't, on a bus route or something like that? Yes. But we made it work because we wanted him to be included. We didn't want him to feel less than because his parents were blind. We tried to give him as much of a normal childhood as we could.
Yeah, my kids had questions. I mean, they would never ask me. They always asked their mom, right? It's like they were afraid to ask me. Like, I remember we were walking to school to drop them off, and I heard my middle child walking behind me with their mom. Hey, mommy, why does daddy use that stick? You know, the cane? And then
Yeah.
she had to explain it to her and all this and that. But you mentioned guide dog. That's pretty cool, though. Which school did you go to?
I didn't always have a dog. I went to the Seeing Eye. I am on my second dog. I never, ever thought I've always been a cane user, a decent cane user. But obviously, when you get a dog, you have to have decent mobility skills because despite what other people think, the dog does not know every place on the planet. So, no, it doesn't get you there. You get yourself there with its help. You know what I mean? A lot of people think that the dog just knows what to do, when to do it, how to do it. That's not how that works. I used a cane until I was 45, I think. And then I fell when I was crossing the street once, and there was a car behind me, and it kind of freaked me out. Nothing happened. I remember the guy actually getting out. My foot got caught in something, and I was about to get to the other side, but didn't quite make it. He got out and he's like, "You okay?" And I kind of twisted my ankle and I just got back on the sidewalk and kept on walking. But it was that experience that said, maybe it's time for me to get a dog because what happened that time wouldn't have happened if I would have a dog because it was a sewer grate that I walked into. He would have taken me around that. And I'm not saying that dogs are miracle workers. Again, you have to know how to work the dog, but it's been such an amazing and very good experience for me. I have gained so much independence. It's I can't even tell you.
I've never had a guide dog. I got turned down 3 times. During the training process, I told, you guys get to know each other, right? So you guys kind of create that rapport, that bond. So that helps, right? I mean, when you're at the training school?
My first dog is a golden retriever, and he retired early, and we still have him. My son and I share custody. I say we share custody because he bonded very closely with my son. So, when my son moved out, he's like, "Mom," and I'm like, "No," and he's like, "Yes," and I'm like, "No," and we came to an understanding. So he has my golden, and now I have a black lab and golden cross. And he's been with me. It'll be 2 years in July. And this dog is amazing. Not that my first dog wasn't, but this dog is just so much different. And I just see so many differences compared to having my first dog to now. It's just, I could talk about it all day, but he's great. They're both great in their own ways. But this dog really knows me. Like he watches me like a hawk. He is always like wanting to know what's happening, what I'm doing. He's probably sitting here watching me right now, laying in the corner, looking up. Like, what's happening right now?
So yeah, a moment ago I said I got turned down 3 times. I don't remember the third one, but one lady said she said I had too much functional vision because when she rolled up to my house, I was going up and down the stairs, whatever, right? If you do, I'm not clowning on you guys, right? But I'm just like, who uses their cane in their house? You know?
Yeah, nobody does.
Exactly.
Nobody does.
Too much functional vision. And then the other one was back then I only worked at one school and I hardly ever went anywhere outside of work. So she was like, the dog's gonna get bored because you're not going anywhere. But I've spoken to people over the years that they don't go out places a lot, you know? And their dog's home all the time. I see where they're coming from.
Or like if you live in a small town and you're not working, like it seems like you're less likely to get a dog. I'm sorry that that happened to you.
Or if I go to the same school every day, it's not gonna work because the dog is gonna get bored. You're going to the same place every day. I'm like,
No, I mean that I don't understand that because I went to work at the same place for like 5 years
exactly.
while while my dog slept under my cubicle.
Yeah, even my vision teacher back in, when I started learning Braille and all that in the third grade, she'd be at the school from like 8 until we got out. So that dog be under the table pretty much because she took him out during lunchtime. And after that, it was when the school got
Yeah.
out. So that's pretty dope, though. I will say, it sounds like you had a pretty decent grind, so to speak. I like to say, good family, friends, learned your craft with the braille and the technology, a master's degree, though. That's some major props right there.
It hasn't all been easy, though. I mean, people who aren't in our world don't really know what we have to do in order to get there. It was blood, sweat, and tears. And I feel like I will probably retire from where I am at this point. I don't plan to make any changes or anything like that. But I just always had a push or a drive to do more, to be more, to want more. And I don't know where that comes from.
That was for yourself, though, not to prove anything to the society, so to speak.
I think part of it was to prove something. I wanted to feel accepted and I wanted to feel quote unquote normal like everybody else. And I think part of it was I was trying to show people on the outside, I can do this. It doesn't matter that I'm freaking blind. I got this. I can do it. But it it wasn't easy. I'm not saying, I've had lots of stuff happen. I've fallen, you fall a lot when you're blind, you trip over stuff. Now that I have a dog, I've gotten a lot of Uber denials, which are so frustrating.
Oh, I've seen those stories so many times. It just breaks my heart.
It's not an easy life, I guess, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I couldn't imagine not doing what I'm doing.
All right, so I'm gonna ask some general questions that you may frown upon, but what, so you can cook, right?
Mhm.
How did you learn how to cook? Who taught you?
My son's dad actually taught me how to cook because I had no idea. I will say that in that part of I was very, very sheltered growing up. Yes, I had, like I talked about close knit family and stuff, but I was very sheltered. My mom did not really want to teach me how to do things because she was afraid. And I get that. I'm not resentful. When I started dating my son's dad, he would teach me. We started obviously with the basics, something easy, and I learned from him. I learned how to
Using a
cook, I learned how to
toaster?
clean. No, no,
You said something
no,
simple,
like
basic.
making, I don't know, like making eggs or cooking, cleaning, washing, all of that stuff. I didn't do any of that at home. That was a source of contention for me and my sister because she was kind of resentful when we were growing up because she had to do all of that. She had to iron, cook, and clean. And, I remember her saying, "How come you don't make Claudia do any of that?" She was right. She was right, but my mom was scared.
Yeah, I remember when I was 19, right when I graduated high school, I was, now I can say I was in lust, not in love, right? So I told my mom, I'm like, I'm moving out. Go live with my girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. She was like, who's gonna cook for you? Who's da 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 da? I'm like, well, since I'm in a relationship, she likes to cook, she's gonna cook, but it's not like I don't know how to, which at that time I knew how to cook, but I didn't. Because at the blind school, we took those classes, daily living skills, where they teach you how to cook, clean, sew, blah, 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 blah. But don't attribute my messy house because I'm blind. Don't attribute that I can't cook because I'm blind. Sometimes some of us just don't want to, right now. You know what I mean? Like,
You don't feel like
yeah, just don't
it.
feel
You're
like
done
it.
working at the end of the day and you're just tired.
Yeah,
I
you just
know.
want to
I
kick it.
look at my house sometimes like, oh, Lord, you know?
I mean, because I'm the same way as well. I mean, I'm a clean freak myself, but after a while, raising three kids, you clean and clean and clean and clean, and it just mess it up. You're just like, forget it.
And there's no end. It just keeps happening. So it's like, what's the point? But,
Yeah, it's like pulling weeds in the backyard. It's like a never ending thing, but
they always come back.
I'm on my own. So if there's a mess, I got no one else to blame but me. But it's nice and clean, but it's never going to be house of the year. As you guys are listening to this, being blind is really not all that bad. I mean, it's like you said earlier, you just got to be motivated, right? Isn't that what it's all about? Having that right attitude. If you walk around every day with a defeated attitude, it's probably not going to get you anywhere.
You have to want to work towards something. You can't hurt yourself by trying it. And if it's something that may not work out, that doesn't mean that something else might not work. But I mean, I feel like there's so much potential, regardless of whether you're blind or not. You just have to tap into it.
Yeah, work with your strengths, hide your weaknesses. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I gotta give you props. You had one child, I times that by 3 for me. I took on too much too soon, but that's okay. Everything happens for a reason. I'm glad where I'm at. So, do you have any words of wisdom, any advice for any listeners that we have out there, whether they're 13, because like I said, to my other guests, we never know who's listening.
I just feel like if you're blind and you're kind of feeling down about it and you have that why me attitude, been there, done that, got depressed about it, I kind of messed up some of my college experience because of it. I let that depression get the better of me, but blindness, it is not the worst thing in the world. It is something it's surmountable. In other words, you can get over it. Not over it, but I'm saying you can work with it.
You
It's
can get
not.
through it, yeah.
Yeah, you can get through it. You can be independent. You can be, I feel like the army, be what you want to be, but you really can. I mean, you have very little limitations. Yeah, so we can't drive. Oh, well. But, if somebody is out there thinking or struggling, like, what am I going to be able to do as a blind person? There are so many people out there that are doing so many things and they're blind and they're living their life.
Here's an example right here, Claudia, math graduate degree. For those out there, getting a graduate degree is not easy. When I started and failed, they said in order to get through your graduate program, you pretty much have to put us first above everything else. And that's your family, that's your job. Oh my goodness, that was tough. So
Yeah, that was tough, but I didn't have a family. I had work and I had, my significant other, but I was in it for the long game. I just think that you can talk to people, meet people that are blind and let them tell you also what they do, how they do it.
yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's how I got into music in the first place. We're gonna bring up some social media apps, you guys. So if you guys don't know what we're talking about, Google it. I don't know who brought this up, but I started using an app back in 2018, 2019 called Vorel. Have you ever used that one?
No, I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about that.
I was on there until they started charging and I forget it. But I met some beat makers on there. I'm like, I was just like this, I don't want to say ignorant, but like, oh my God, you're blind. How can you make music? You know what I mean? And then that's when I learned about the Mac and all this other stuff. And I'm like, oh, cool. Now here I am 8 years later doing my own beats and stuff. But yeah, ask people, network. Don't be afraid to ask questions, guys. What do you do on your free time? What do you like to do for your hobbies and stuff?
I used to do a lot of baking, not because I would bake and it would relax me, and then I would give it away just because, or I would bake, of course, for my son. And when I was with my son's dad and his family and stuff like that, we would have get togethers, and I did a lot of baking and loved it. But now I do a lot of reading. I go for walks. I live in the Midwest. And so I look for spring and summer because any chance I can get to be outside after work, I am out in the backyard listening to tunes. I go to free concerts in town with my friends and stuff like that. A lot of stuff happens here during the summertime. So I'm, out and about enjoying music, enjoying the outdoors. That's me.
Your technology, though. So I know we touched on this briefly, but so you use just your iPhone?
I read Braille, but I read it fluently, but honestly, on this job, I don't use it as much as I thought I would. I'm primarily a JAWS reader at work, JAWS listener, whatever. I do have a Braille display that I do use periodically. And then the Focus 40 Blue.
I got the Mantis Q40. I love it.
I'll be honest with you, I don't use it to the extent that I should, but because I'm a very quick listener with JAWS and I have to process so much information, I'm doing a lot during the day. So I use JAWS and then I use my iPhone. And then I do use a regular computer, my personal computer when I'm not working. But I don't even take that out that much anymore. I get overstimulated at work with listening to JAWS all day, reading stuff to me. So by the time I'm done, I'm like, done.
Oh, no, I hear you. It's kind of like if you, I don't know, answer phones all day, you come home, you just unplug the phone, because you're tired of it ringing.
I tell my friends, I'm like, I don't really talk to people until the weekends just because I work very long days and I get up really early. And by the time I'm done, I'm over it. I'm reading a book. I'm going to go sit outside, take my speaker, decompress.
Exactly. You gotta decompress. Now, for me, though, different circumstance. I just got the Mantis Q40 because I was doing these workshops right online, and I'm like trying to take notes, but my screen reader is talking, and then the speaker is talking, and my one ear is trying to hear everything, and so I just saved up a couple $1,000 because that's how much this thing costs, guys. Like $2,500, and then I bought myself the Mantis, and it's really been helping me out take notes when people are listening because I can't listen to my screen reader and the person talking at the same time.
I get it. It's hard. When I work, I have a headset in one ear, but my headset has, two sides. But I have that in one ear, and then I'm listening to my people that I'm working with on the other side, and I'm typing, and I'm just like, okay, this is too much. Taking notes or whatever. So you do what you got to do to get it done.
So a lot of the things I ask my guests, if there's anything that they would like to promote, I mean, because I try to talk to independent artists on here, people who have programs they like to offer. Like I had a guest on here that runs a business that does business cards where he embosses business cards for people. So there's nothing you would like to advertise?
I don't have any. No, I got nothing.
Okay. Well, it was nice having you on the show. Thank you for your time, though. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for inviting me, and I always love to do this stuff. So,
all right. Well, you have yourself a great evening, and thank you for joining us.
All right. Thanks for the invite.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
So there we go. Interview with Miss Claudia. What did you think about that, bro?
I was impressed by, some of us have had like peaks and valleys in our education. You and I have talked about that in other contexts. And it sounded like, from everything she said, her public school experience was like really positive. And I'm glad to hear that for when it happens. I know it. I was not allowed to do public school. Sorry about that. That's a cat just being run out of the room. But she sounded like she got a really well-rounded education. And to hear her tell it, she was accepted. She wasn't like this isolated, unusual person struggling through school, but it sounded like she had good resource people. And you do that kind of thing, right? I mean, you're a teacher in public school settings, right?
The other piece that I picked up on, though, too, is she made a comment about I wanted to prove that I can be like the rest or something like that.
Yeah, she was talking about, right. That was more like, domestic stuff. And she said, yeah, I do want to prove to people that they can come in my house and it's clean and presentable. And that might be kind of a woman thing, but that sort of thing is important to some people to say, I measure up to external standards, and that's cool. But it's like she sounded like she had control of her, kind of like what you said, destiny almost, because she chose to take a break from work and raise her child. And then she re-entered the workforce and was able to do that. And that is not always easy, and it doesn't work out for everybody. So you got to respect. She had that continuity, that stamina that we've talked about, that other people have. But yeah, really, particularly with the academic stuff, I was impressed because, I don't have a degree. I did not make it all the way through college. I was young and wild and immature and away from home and glad of that. So anybody, and particularly anybody who doesn't see, who gets a degree, has my respect.
She also mentioned about being blind, being married to another blind person as well.
Yeah.
How she handled that, it just didn't seem like it didn't faze her or him. You know what I mean?
I know. And she was saying that she actually learned a lot from him about cooking and, what we talk about as like independent living skill. And I think it's usually the other way around. I learned a lot of that stuff from my ex-wife because she was like a pro.
One thing she mentioned, I can't remember if it was on air, or maybe it was off air. She mentioned she's on the computer, with Jaws in her ear all day, 10 hours.
Yeah.
And she gets home and she's like, I'm so tired of the computer. I just put it in the drawer. I just mess with the iPhone. And I'm like, yeah, man, I can relate, but in a way I can't, because I deal with kids all day. I can't come home and put my kids in the drawer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I know. And everybody kind of has their ups and downs with technology. You get sick of it. Then all of a sudden one day comes, you're obsessing over it all day. But yeah, she was just saying she likes to come home, put that thing away, go outside, listen to music, decompress. And I could understand, especially when I was working, because we'd be on the computer, conference calls all day, Jaws in your ear, and it'll wear you out. But yeah, very good interview. And thank you for stepping in there and doing that solo. I wasn't available for that one, but you did good.
Yeah, man, you probably would have saved my booty, man, because when the battery died, I'm like, oh, man, if Flavius was there, he picked up more alcohol.
Yeah, I could have gotten her going down some rabbit hole,
Yeah, let's just keep talking about the birds and the bees until he replaces the batteries.
There you go. But you rallied, man. You did good.
And the family thing, though, that seems to be common, all across the board. Would you tend to agree? I mean, remember her fam?
Yeah, I know. It's she was saying that they kind of sheltered her. That same thing happened to me. And I know I've said this a million times before, but in a lot of ways, my life didn't begin as my life until I was out and away from the family. And they don't mean anything bad by it. Maybe their hearts are pure as far as motive, but sometimes they keep you from learning the things you need to most learn. So.
Yeah, I was the same way as we talked about in prior shows. I dipped because of a woman.
Yeah.
And I just had to retain everything that I learned from the blind school, blah, 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 blah. But
yeah,
even though her family kind of quote unquote held her back, she still did good, man. And I may be biased because I work for an education. I work in the education industry, but it is fantastic that she muscled her way through. And yeah, she didn't pass that exam to become a counselor. But damn, dude, getting your master's degree, surviving that alone,
exactly,
is a huge accomplishment.
Yes, it is.
That level is demanding.
Yeah, when you get to graduate school, they do not coddle you, because that was a big shock for my daughter. And she got, she history. And I wonder who she got that from. But when she got to graduate school, man, they made her work. And I think Claudia mentioned something about statistics. Leah had the same problem when she got statistics. She hated that. I can't even say it. Can't say it. Statistics, but it's
that.
Yeah, I know.
You hate it so much you don't even want to say the word.
I know. But I'm glad I never had that experience, because I wouldn't have liked it either.
Yeah, man, the hours they got for grad schools, I'm like, come on, guys, 5 to 8:30, 8 to 3, 5 evening. Oh, no, we do that because we know people work. I'm like,
yeah.
Like I was telling, I remember them days I would go to work, come home, chill with the kids for 2 hours and go to class. That's why I didn't, make it through. And I'm kind of honestly glad I didn't, because for me, like, to find out where I'm going, what I want to do, I got to experience it. And hey, if I don't like it, let's move on to the next. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And after I failed, quote unquote, I realized, hey, it ain't for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not because I failed, because at that time, all my life, bro, I've been told you should be a counselor. I'm like, why? Because you have a lot you can help people. I'm like, because they all attribute that to being blind. I'm like, just because I'm blind doesn't make me a great counselor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Counseling is more than just sitting there and listening. There's, techniques and skills involved there. Why do you think you pay all this money to go learn that stuff, in my humble opinion? But
yeah,
she got her master's. I was disappointed that I never made it and got my grad degree. Like, my coworker got hers recently. But I'm satisfied with a bachelor's degree, man, because that used to be the measuring stick a lot. Oh, you just got your BA? That seems to be common these days. And you know what, bro? That's coming from somebody who doesn't even have an AA degree. So I'm like, why you clowning on me having a BA when you never stepped foot in the college?
Yeah. Well, people get real, competitive about stuff, and that's unfortunate.
I think it's just a form of insecurity. Like, maybe they're just not happy with the fact that they didn't make it, because they had to be on the road 24/7 supporting their spouse or their family,
Could be. Yeah.
It is, because I've spoken to people like that in the past 10 years, 20 years. So I'm mainly talking about the ones I've encountered. I'm not talking generally. So there are people out there that will not. I mean, who's going to come out and say, yeah, man, who's going to own up? Yeah, it sucks that I didn't make it, because I had to work and take care of my mom. I had to work and take care of this and that, this and that, this and that. So that does happen. There's no could be about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, big props to you, Claudia. And she will be returning.
Good.
To a future episode.
Yeah, well, I want to be available this time now. I promise.
Yeah, I said, look, next time you come back, we won't have to worry about betters. So I'll be wired in.
There you go.
So, yeah, you guys tell us what you guys think about the show. And remember, my email address, it's kims4n@gmail.com. You can find us on all your podcasting platforms. If you cannot find us on one that you use that might not be there, because I'm strictly aiming just for Apple, Spotify, Amazon, just the main dudes, right?
Yeah.
So if it's not showing up for you guys, you send me an email. If you see me on Facebook, shoot me a direct message and I'll get you fixed up. So it's kims4n@gmail.com. The Blind Pursuits. Share, like, subscribe, tell your mama, tell your mama's mama, tell your brother, tell your brother's brother, tell your sister.
All of those people tell them.
So we will see you guys down the road. Any last words, Brody?
Not a whole lot of, but thanks for listening and keep listening. And yeah, do tell people about us because we got more content coming to you.
Yes, sir. Peace.